Welcome back to the channel. I have Tampa Trevor Sycamore, the one and only, here with us to do a mock draft. How are you doing today, Trevor?
Dude, I'm doing great. We were talking about this a little bit before you hit record, but this is something that I've been super excited about, this episode that we're getting to do together here, because over on my YouTube channel with Connor Rogers, the NFL Stock Exchange podcast, we've been doing a little mock draft series, and we asked the good people, hey, who should we collab with? And your channel was one that continually came up. Everybody wanted to see this happen. So big shout out to your fans. Big shout out to the people who are loyal to your brand. And I'm glad we're getting to make it happen here, man. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So you're going to be taking the odd teams today. Or no, yes, odd teams.
Yes.
I'll be taking the even teams. And if trades come up, we'll discuss them and whatnot. You know it's a mock draft. Quick question. Probably should have asked this before. Predictive or just, hey, this is maybe what we would do? Or maybe a little blend of both?
I think it's a little blend of both, but I feel like we have more fun when it's what we would do, you know? Because
totally.
And obviously, as we go through the picks, we can totally talk it out. Like, yeah, like I don't know if they're gonna do this, but I would do this. So look, it's your channel. You get the final say, but I would vote that we do what we would do mock, because I think that's fun.
Oh shoot, you're the guest, but let's do what we would do, which more interesting scenarios opens up possibilities. And that's the goal of this. Just look at different possibility scenarios that can happen, because we know when it comes time, it's not going to go that way. So let's go ahead and get this sucker started at number 1, Carolina Panthers.
All right. So I'm up with Carolina at number 1. If it were up to me, I'd be taking Bryce Young. And in this scenario, I am going to take Bryce Young. But it seems as though the Panthers might be leaning that direction as well. I think when the Panthers initially traded up to number 1, CJ Stroud became the big betting favorite. There's this stuff out there at Josh McCown, their quarterback coach, loving CJ Stroud. Frank Reich, he loves those bigger pocket passing type of quarterbacks. And so the Vegas betting odds just shot up for CJ Stroud. But now we're seeing it flip a little bit. Now, recently, we're seeing these things get a lot more towards even with both Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. And when it's all said and done, I think that Bryce is going to be the betting favorite. I feel like maybe we were just sick of talking about Bryce Young. That's why we wanted something new to talk about. Like, oh, you see the trade? Like, oh, it could be for Stroud. It could be for Richardson. Both of them good players. And I know we're going to talk about them later in this mock. But if it were up to me, I'd be taking Bryce. The best player in college football over the last 2 years. Nobody plays the quarterback position like he does. And so we're going to kick this one off with Bryce Young going to the Panthers at 1.
Nice and simple. I like it. All right, so the Houston Texans. This one, actually, I've kind of I like the idea of what, because I was watching the one you did with the tailgate guys where Austin Gale came up with like Anthony Richardson. I was like, wow, that kind of makes so much sense. Like, you're here too. Why not swing the bat? I know DeMeco Ryans came out. We don't need a savior. Okay, you still need a quarterback. Virtually the same thing. Why not hit on the guy with the highest upside? Even though like Stroud probably can be a top 10, top 12 guy in the league. He can be an efficient passer especially within that system. Mm-hmm. But I really like that idea of like even if Anthony Richardson doesn't hit those like that elite level, his physical tools make him such a problem to have to game plan for, similar to like a Lamar Jackson. So I think I'm going to go with Anthony Richardson. That's actually kind of my favorite pick now. I think I'm going to start doing it in my future mocks too.
I liked when Austin was talking about it. Obviously, I like when you're talking about it here. I graduated from the University of Florida, so the higher in the draft that Anthony Richardson goes, the more proud of a Gator fan that I am. But look, obviously, the variance with Richardson is there's a lot of highs, a lot of lows, right? You've got to be able to raise that floor of them at the NFL level. But not that you want to do this with scouting too much, because it's kind of a dangerous game. But if you were to rank the quarterbacks who, if I asked you the question, which quarterbacks have the highest chance to be a league MVP, I think that Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson would be the easy one too, just depending on what the order would be there, if you're looking for the upside or not. And I think those guys would firmly be ahead of Will Levis and CJ Stroud. So again, not that that's everything, not that the answer to that question is everything, but I don't know. That's kind of the way that I look at it. And with Houston, DeMeco says they don't need a savior. They kind of do. They've needed a quarterback for basically since the franchise started. So.
Oh, no Davis Mills love here.
Maybe a little at one point, but I think that ship is.
Yeah.
All right. So Cardinals, I'm back on the clock with the Cardinals at 3. This is definitely one of those scenarios where you could certainly see them trading down. Adam Schefter tweeted not too long ago that there have been at least 6 teams that have called the Cardinals for number 3 overall. And if you wanted to explore those, you're thinking, okay, the Colts at 4, the Seahawks at 5, the Lions at 6, the Raiders at 7, the Falcons at 8. Those are 5, which I think probably have picked up the phone and at least asked what the price was for 3. I think the Titans are probably that other team at number 11. That's the 6. But then he said at least 6. So I wonder if like the Patriots at 14 or the Ravens all the way at 22, the Vikings at 23. Like these are teams that I think could be asking about the price to see what it would take to maybe move all the way up there. But the further we get down in the order, the less likely it is because Arizona still needs a top pick. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that Arizona is definitely going to move this pick? Because if you do, we can make a deal happen somewhere. What do you think about Arizona?
I feel like, well, at least with every day that passes, that I just don't believe it's going to happen. I don't know what it is. Like, does someone really want to come up, especially if it's like team like the Titans for quarterback 3 in this class? And I mean, the other teams like the Seahawks, very intriguing. In rivals, we've seen in rival teams trade. Like, it's no big deal.
It can happen. It can happen. But like, I'd feel a lot better if a team was trading up for Richardson. You know? Right. I do agree with. Part of me agrees with what you're saying. Where it's like, if there was a deal to be had, it probably would have been done already. But on the flip side, since the 2 picks in front of number 3 are probably going to be quarterbacks, you're going to want to see who that third one left on the board is here. I agree with you. I think that Richardson being off the board makes it less likely that this pick is dealt. So I'll stay at number 3. I'll take Will Anderson. I got to think the Cardinals love Will Anderson, and I don't think whether they trade back or stick at 3, I don't think they want to be going that far down the order to get too far away from picking him. So I believe they're hoping that the Indianapolis Colts give them either a couple of day 2 picks or whatever it is for them to just move down that one spot and still get Anderson. But at the end of the day, I think that Anderson's going to end up a Arizona Cardinal. So we'll have him going here at 3.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Colts. All right. So Stroud or Levis? This is the $1 million question now. And I know y'all would want to say, Will Levis, you are an Indianapolis Colt.
There it is.
Yeah, right.
I'm glad you said the line. I didn't have to.
I think that kind of makes sense with Steichen. I mean, at least what he did with Jalen Carter, someone who is mobile. Not to say Stroud's not, but I mean, this is a guy that even if he gets mobile, there's a want to pass the football. This guy isn't a running quarterback. Not to say Will Levis is, but man, geez Louise. I feel like this obviously the safer option. You get Stroud.
Yeah.
And I probably am. I think I am. Get Stroud.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah. To be honest, it is pretty tough. Like, I don't think there's a lot that separates the two outside of just the steady production. But to be fair, Will Levis didn't have a lot around him this year opposed to 2021. And I mean, they had the influx of a different offensive coordinator this past season too. So.
All right. I think that's probably, I mean, I believe that was also the correct pick. Although,
hey, you can talk crap, man. It's fine. It's fine.
I was going to say, it's like, we've got the running bit on the podcast that Will Levis is a Colt. If he ends up being an Indianapolis Colt, I can't wait to see my mentions just absolutely explode on Twitter on draft night. It's going to be an amazing sight. But CJ obviously makes a ton of sense further there at 4. Seahawks at 5. The Geno Smith contract really isn't as solid as the 3 years and the high money total suggested that it was, it's essentially like a 1-year deal and they can get out of it next year. So it's not like they've tied a lot of money into Geno where you think no matter what, he's going to be the quarterback of this team for the next 2-3 seasons. They could go quarterback, but I don't know if they're going to be super in on Levis. Plus, it's a what we would do mock, and with it being a what we would do mock, I'm taking Jalen Carter here. I got to take Jalen Carter at 5. They've done a nice job adding some talent around them on the defense side of the ball, but they're missing that high impact player on the D line, especially on the interior. So Carter, I know his stock's all over the place, but he's still the perfect pick for the Seahawks, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Like for me, it's hard to imagine Carter getting passed by both Seattle and Detroit.
Right.
Just such a good fit. And I get it. Probably one of the worst draft cycle processes we've seen, but like 2 years of tape, man, this guy was the best player on the Georgia defense for 2 consecutive years.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit. I could go Will Levis. Could. I'm not going to.
I hate it. You know, like nobody really talks about that anymore just because I don't think it's going to happen.
Exactly.
But I mean,
I feel like they are sold on Jared Goff.
I know. They're really in on Jared Goff.
He is the commander. He is the chief. He is going to be leading them into the future, at least next year. But I guess Devon Witherspoon is the one that makes the most sense here in an edge deep class too. I think Tyree Wilson as well, but I'm not so much higher on. I got Witherspoon actually a few spots higher than Wilson here. Like I like the flexibility of Wilson where early downs outside, kick him inside, bring in James Houston. But you know, Witherspoon makes more sense with Aaron Glenn's system and
especially because they just traded Akuda.
Yeah.
You know?
And they're gonna love Witherspoon's mentality.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
He feels like a Campbell guy. Get him the race car helmet.
Yes. No, Witherspoon, it 100% feels like a Dan Campbell guy. And again, with them officially moving on from Jeff Okudah, now they're going to have all new corners in there no matter what. You know, they got Cam Sutton, they have Emmanuel Mosley. You're drafting probably a corner at 6 or 18. Yeah. So the entire cornerback room is going to be different, but it needed to be. I mean, the corner group was glaringly bad last season. This is number 1 offense in football. And this is still a team that didn't end up making the playoffs because the defense just couldn't hold up mainly against the pass. So I love the Devon Witherspoon pick. He's one of my favorite players in this class. Raiders are up at 7. Again, this is pretty easy. And I think it's pretty realistic too. You know, instead of the Raiders having to give up all this draft capital to move from 7 to 3, they get to stick at 7 and they still get one of CJ Stroud or Will Levis. Here in this case, they get Will Levis. I'm going to pick them Will Levis here. And I really do believe that this is possible. I think the Cardinals are trying to drum up a lot of interest and more specifically drum up a lot of fear with the teams that are picking further down the order that they would trade down with. But I wonder if Anthony Richardson's not on the board at number 3, I agree with you completely. I think the conversation's totally different because if it's Richardson, then you can certainly sell, oh, it's Richardson and Levis still on the board. Oh, it's Richardson and CJ Stroud still on the board. Richardson, if you like him so much more than probably the other quarterback that's going to be there. But if it's Stroud and Levis, sure, Stroud, I think, has a higher floor, everybody would say right now, but Levis could still be a really good quarterback as well. And there's the issues with pressure that Stroud dealt with over the last couple of years. So, and if you're Arizona, teams can kind of call your bluff, right? This Arizona Cardinals team is really bad. So do you really think that they're going to want to move further down than 7, probably at the worst? I don't know. That's kind of where my mind goes. So best case scenario here for the Raiders, 7. I'm going to take them Will Levis.
Very nice. Very nice. Man, that's another Raiders team where I'm just like looking at it as like, man, I really hope quarterback's not on the board there because their secondary is just in such disarray outside of like Hobbs. It really got nothing going. Oh, Atlanta Falcons, man. Well, this feels like edge with the addition of Kuda, which obviously not the end all be all, but I think they actually have a pretty solid cornerback room there. I think they got really good sub package options in like Darren Hall. I think Alford's the other option there that they have there.
I think he's still there.
Yeah, every time I say Alford, I want to say Robert Alford, but long gone.
Yeah, who's do they still have him there? Let's see. D. Alford, yeah, that's the other one. Yeah, Darren Hall, D. Alford, Jeff Okuda, AJ Terrell, obviously. They have Javelin Guidry. I forgot. He's
wow.
He's small. He's small and fast. So I mean, like, he's probably just like a nickel dude. Oh, they have Mike Hughes and Casey Hayward as well. So yeah, it's not like we have to draft a corner at 8.
No,
especially with the Jesse Bates edition, they probably feel like they've hit secondary a decent amount.
Exactly, and they're probably more concerned with the pass rush at this point.
Yeah,
I felt like going into this, like the biggest needs for this team were pass rush, were corner. Not to say like you draft for need, but goes into the equation. Question here: Tyree Wilson, Nolan Smith, who's the better fit going forward? And I kind of feel they might like the bigger guy in Tyree Wilson. Production, it's there the last 2 years. Again, far from polished, but it's there. The NFL draft is tough.
It is. It's a mind game. It's definitely a mind game. I'd be taking Smith if I had this pick. I've got Smith considerably higher on my board than I do.
Than Wilson?
Than Wilson, yeah. And also Nolan is the stand-up outside linebacker type, and I think the Falcons are moving to that 3-down, 3-4 kind of style. So like he would fit that better. At least that's what the depth chart is projecting. Because they have Calais Campbell now, they have Daniel Onyemata, they have Grady Jarrett, and like those are their 3 interior guys that they'll play with their hand in the dirt. But then you've got Lorenzo Carter, Caden Ellis, Arnold Ebiketie, D'Angelo Malone.
Great. See, and I was like kind of trying to figure out like schematically what are they going to look like, and I was thinking maybe it would probably resemble the Saints a little bit, but even then, I do like Nolan Smith though. The dude's stupid explosive for his size, good run defender, 25% pass rush win rate. This past season. Yeah, Nolan Smith. I think in the top 10, you swing for that upside. Tyree Wilson. It would have been nice if we got to see Tyree Wilson actually test out.
Yes, I definitely wanted to see that.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people kind of have doubts with his explosiveness. I feel like he just doesn't come off the ball. Like he doesn't time the snap well.
No, he does not. I'm pretty low on Tyree Wilson compared to the consensus. So
I kind of got that cluster like with the edge rushers. It's like because I throw Miles Murphy in there because I love Miles Murphy like from 2021, and then 2022 happened. And I was like, that's not the same guy.
Yeah, well, he just like didn't take that step. Like I thought that it was going to be like, he was going to take a major step forward, and he didn't. He was kind of the same player, which is fine because he's also going to be like 21 when he gets in the league. Yeah. So, I mean, that's totally fine, but it is a little bit different when you look at it like that. So, all right. Did you officially take Nolan?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Nolan Smith. I like that.
All right. So we're going to go Nolan Smith at 8. Bears up at 9. Bears depth chart. Braxton Jones, who I like. Tevin Jenkins at right tackle right now, but you can kick him inside where you might like him a lot more if you draft a tackle here.
Yeah, I think Jenkins is moving to left guard, right?
He should, yes.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know if he tweeted out something. Yeah, but I thought he said he might be going to left guard.
All right, I'm gonna go a little bit of a different direction because normally I just automatically give them Paris Johnson Jr. here at number 9. But I'm going to go a different offensive tackle. I just finalized my offensive tackle rankings not too long ago, and I like Darnell Wright a lot. So
Mel Kiper does.
I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go Darnell Wright here at number 9. Not that this is the most important thing in the world, but if you like Braxton Jones playing at left tackle, right tackle is then the hole that is open. Darnell Wright has a ton of experience as a right tackle. He's battle tested. He's smart. He's physical. His demeanor is the exact kind that you would want. He's a former 5-star athlete because of his natural athleticism. His kick steps are so impressive. The ground that he gets to cover, how physically imposing he is when he makes contact. I think this dude's fantastic. I think he is absolutely a top 15 kind of an offensive tackle. So I'm going to go Darnell Wright as the first offensive tackle off the board to the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. See, I've been doing Darnell Wright a lot to Pittsburgh at 17 because I just feel like Mike Tomlin was absolutely like just
he'd love him.
Loved him at Mobile. Him, yeah. Dwan Jones. And I was doing that at like 32, and then I was like, oh man, this tackle class really falls off a cliff, and I feel like we're gonna see like five or six go in the first round.
I agree.
So I totally agree. Yeah, now it's like 17. It's like, oh crap, you got to move up if you want to get that guy.
Yep.
Wild. Philly, I think ideally actually Tyree Wilson actually might be a pretty solid pick here. Pierce Skronsky as well. Problem with Tyree Wilson is like, you don't want worst case scenario, Derek Barnett version 2. But I mean, Peter Skoronsky, I like the idea of that because you don't have to move Cam Jurgens to guard if you just want him to be that heir apparent to Kelsey. Skoronsky could also step in after Lane Johnson goes.
Yep.
It gives you just a lot of versatility there. I have Skoronsky higher. I'll go Skoronsky.
All right. Okay.
Good edge class. You can see what's cooking at 31. 30.
I often find myself doing that with the Eagles. It's like just leaning trenches, something along the trenches.
I've been getting a lot of hate in my comments about not taking Bijan at 10 recently. People love Bijan at 10 for the Eagles.
Really? Well, I mean, like, I know they just lost Miles, but the way... So I think there's a difference, right? If you're predicting that the Eagles are going to take a running back at 10, I do not think that's going to happen. They have built their dynasty on building through the trenches, even when it almost seemed like luxury picks. That's just what they do. So I don't know. To all the people in your comments who want Bijan in Philly, obviously it would be sick. I'm not saying that it wouldn't. That would be an awesome offense.
It would be great. But man, that's a hot. I'm with y'all on like running back value. It's kind of a thing. Even with Bijan, it's like you look in the top 10, like Christian McCaffrey, Zeke, even Saquon. Like, what did these guys really do to help elevate that squad? There's more valuable positions you can go. But
for Philly, it's one of the few teams that makes sense. But again,
embarrassment of riches right now.
Yeah, like I don't think they got to where they are making picks like that. I don't know how they're going to look at it. So anyways, Titans at 11. This has to be offensive line. When you look at when you look at this team, I mean, sure, they signed Andre Dillard, but Andre Dillard has not blossomed into the former first rounder that the Eagles thought that he was going to be. They added Daniel Brunskill to play on the interior. They have Nicholas Petit-Frere on the right side, but I don't know if he's for sure like going to have that spot. We're going to be good there. We're fine. So they need somebody. They need as much of the draft's never a guarantee, but they need somebody who could be a guarantee here. I think Paris Johnson Jr. has to be the pick for them. He's one of the highest offensive tackles that I have. I have him and Darnell Wright back to back as number 1 and number 2 on my offensive tackle list. And so, I just think that it has to be tackle for Tennessee. So,
and I know people get tired of that one, but it just makes the most sense.
Yeah, there is not a defensive line or wide receiver pick that could sway me from them taking a tackle. Like I've already said, I'm not super high on Tyree Wilson. Miles Murphy would be my next highest rated player. then it's Lucas Van Ness. And so it's like, I don't like either of those guys nearly as much as I like Paris Johnson Jr. So I've got to stay true to the board here. So, what we would do mock. And so I got to stick with Paris Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Houston Texans. A lot of people like to have fun here with receiver. I think this is the pick where DeMeco Ryans actually puts his fingerprint on the defensive line, whether it's Tyree Wilson, Van Ness, or whoever may be available here.
Yeah.
Trade down's always an option. They did it last year, moved back and got Kenyon Green. Don't know exactly who would want to trade up.
It would probably be in this mock, it would probably be for Gonzalez, right?
Yeah.
Because Gonzalez is still here.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really see a team, like, especially considering Detroit already took corner.
The problem is that there's just so many good corners in this class, right? Like, the Patriots need one at 14. The Steelers need one at 17. The Commanders need one at 16. You get a little bit further. The Ravens need one. The Vikings need one. Like, these teams all need corners, but are any of them other than... I think the Ravens would, honestly. Like, I think the Ravens would move from 22 all the way up to 12. They would make that happen because they're probably not going to get the corner that they want at 22. They'll probably just have to pick, like, Emmanuel Forbes, Cam Smith, I don't know, somebody like that. Whereas if you trade up to 12, Christian Gonzalez obviously on the board here, but even in a scenario where Christian Gonzalez might be off the board, you could trade up to 12 and get yourself Joey Porter Jr. or Deontay Banks, right? That probably is a lot more alluring to them than sitting back and waiting. So for those teams that are in the teens, I think they might be thinking, okay, we don't have to trade up. We can sit back and get the corner we want and not give up extra draft capital. But for the teams who are looking at corner, maybe in the 20s, I think that's when they can start to have that conversation of moving up.
Yeah, problem with the Ravens is just the draft capital they have currently. Like, not having a second round pick. They got a third rounder.
Yeah, they don't have a ton, right?
And I mean, at that point, you're not picking again until 124.
Oh, yeah, they have 5 total picks.
Yeah,
they can't. You're definitely giving something next year.
Yeah. So I think I'll probably just sit on here and just take Tyree Wilson. Take that incredible uber length. And I mean, the Niners, they've been a team that's been pretty darn good about at least developing their edge rushers. So, I mean, to be fair, Nick Bosa, first round pick.
Heard of him.
Yeah. Not half bad. I mean, I guess there was a pedigree there. I guess he was blue chip, whatnot. But I don't know. I feel like this is the pick where he'll put that thumbprint on there. Like, Lucas Van Ness is very interesting, though. He is very interesting. And there's the problem, man. I really wish Tyree Wilson just would have tested out, just to kind of have at least that comparison.
Right. Maybe that's why he didn't test. No, I know he had the injury. So, all right, you're going Tyree at 12?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go Tyree.
Cool. All right, so that puts the Jets up at 13. This is super boring, but it has to be offensive tackle for me. Broderick Jones is the third best offensive tackle on my board, and I got to pick it here. I mean, they can't go into next year just betting on Mekhi Becton to all of a sudden have the best year that he's ever had, the healthiest year that he's ever had. They would love for that to be the case. I would too. It'd be great. But, Fant on the other side is obviously older as well. So it has to be offensive tackle. So we got to go Broderick Jones here.
Yeah. Another one that just makes too much sense. The Patriots, they brought back Jonathan Jones. They brought back Jalen Mills. But come on, man, get some size at corner. Christian Gonzalez, he's got that size. Such a smooth mover. I'll take that. The ball skills got better during the second half of the season. I really feel like that's where, like, we saw what he can do, what he can be. And just going to go ahead and snag that. Like, it'd be fun to do a receiver here, but the Patriots aren't fun. As a Dolphins fan, the Patriots aren't fun.
Oh, that's good. I wasn't ready for that one. All right, so puts me up with the Packers at 15. God, I can go a lot of different directions.
There's one I incredibly like here. I think
Hey.
everyone kind of likes JSN here if he's available.
Yeah, JSN, Dalton Kincaid, Quentin Johnston. I mean, like some sort of receiver.
Insert playmaker here.
I think they do need JSN, don't they?
I feel like he's the final piece to that receiving core.
Yeah, super young receiving core too. They need tight end, but
It's a good class.
it is a good class. Yeah, I think you can get one later. I think you can get one later. Let's go Jack Smith-Jigba. Let's do it. Let's have some fun. Let's round out their wide receiver room. JSN at 15 to the Green Bay Packers.
All right. So I'm going to propose a potential trade here, an idea, something that I've played with in the past, that ever since Austin Eckler was like, hey, I want to be traded.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, well, maybe the Chargers move up here to this spot, involve Austin Eckler, who I'm sure Eric Bieniemy would love. So I'm just going to throw that idea out there, potential trade, swap in a first, Austin Eckler, maybe throw like a fifth in there if you're the Commanders.
I mean,
the question is, what would the Chargers move up for?
I would love to see it. I would love to see it. Now, with JSN off the board, I think the Chargers would move up for, well, I guess it'd be one of two players, I think. It'd be either Lucas Van Ness, because they desperately need edge D-line depth, or if they watch JSN go off the board and they really want to get Zay Flowers. If they're super in on Zay Flowers and they're like, we can't risk it. We have to come away with the draft with this guy. We need more speed on our team. Let's go get Zay.
So you are the Chargers. I'm going to pose this to you. This is very similar to like Washington did with Jahan Dotson. They moved up. We're like, hey, let's go get our guy.
All right. So it would be Austin Eckler.
Oh, yeah. I probably should put out the trade value here. It would be swapping a first.
Yep.
Austin Eckler. And then I assume the Commanders would take would throw a fifth in there to like kind of cover Austin Eckler's cost.
You're saying Washington's throwing a fifth back to
like 193, like back to the Chargers. Or do you feel like that's too exciting? I feel like Austin Eckler, like still he's one of the better running back, like one of the top, some would say 5 run backs in this class. You're still getting that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Amari Cooper also went for like a 5th or 6th round pick, so it's like
my pushback here would be,
do you feel like Austin Eckler's enough for that?
Well, because I'm thinking in my head, like Bijan Robinson's on the board, right? So if you're trading for Austin Eckler, you're trading for him, and then you have to pay him. So like you're trading for him, but obviously if it's a kind of like a swap of just like a 5th round pick, like that's not that much. You're not really giving up that much for him. So it's 16 and 5 for Austin Eckler in 21. So you still get to pick at 21, and you have Austin Eckler. I don't hate this. I don't hate this, especially since the quarterback position in Washington is going to be murky. Like it's going to be new no matter what. So you're going to want to have a stable run game behind you. I've never done this trade before. This is super interesting to think about. I don't know how close we would be to the actual value, but
I mean, if it fluctuates every year, I mean,
I would do this. You want to do this?
If you're the Chargers, if you're okay with it.
Okay. I'll do it. I want to do this just to see what it's like, because I think that's a really interesting scenario that you posed there. Chargers then trading up to 16. I'm gonna have them doing so for Zay Flowers.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give him Zay.
Yeah, they need that speed.
They need that speed.
Do you think Austin Eckler plays for the Chargers next year?
Yes. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I do too.
I still think he plays for the Chargers.
I think he's just going to ride out the contract.
I think so too. Yep.
All right. Well, you're back on the board.
Oh yeah, right. So 17. Pittsburgh Steelers. Do we have any O-linemen left? Okay, not really. Corner. They made moves at corner. Hold on, I'm looking up the depth chart. They made their moves at corner. They got Patrick Peterson. They've got Levi Wallace.
Yeah, I mean, they made their moves at corner.
All right, I'm going to go Deonte Banks then. Deonte Banks, I have higher on my board than I do Joey Porter Jr. I understand the legacy pick. How could you not take it here? But got to stay true to the board, people. So I got Deonte Banks ranked higher and comfortably higher. I'm not going to say like way higher or anything, but like between these two players, it's not the Pacific Ocean amount of space between them, but I would confidently tell you I would have Deonte Banks ranked ahead of Joey Porter Jr. So because it's that confident between the two, I got to stay with Banks, and we're going to go Banks here at 17.
All right. Detroit Lions, I got to remember, it was Devon Witherspoon. Okay. I think double up on defense. I like the idea of Quentin Johnson a lot. I feel like, at least currently, I feel higher on him than, because suddenly everyone hates him. They're like, oh, totally not a first round pick. Get this guy out of here. Terrible hands. Oh, dude, this whole class has drops. I don't want to hear about hands. But I think I'm going to go with Lucas Van Ness. I feel like that's kind of a good completion. A guy that played in the 3-tech in 2021. He could kick inside. Dude's got a nasty bull rush, and I think it only gets better from there. I think he'll get more polish on that guy, and it'll be A-okay.
Man, Van Ness is a really nice speed to power player. Now he's got to figure out the rest of it, right? He's got to figure out the rest of pass rushing beyond just the bull rush. But there's obviously a lot to like, especially from the testing that we saw at the combine. So getting him on that defensive line would be pretty nasty. Bucks at 19. All right, so what I would do, Mock.
Hendon Hooker.
No. Man, there's so many different directions that I could do that makes sense. Hey, Bijan Robinson makes sense for them, even though I like Rachaad White. Michael Mayer definitely makes sense for them. Obviously, no Rob Gronkowski. You're moving on from Cam Braid as well. Yeah, they like Cade Otton, but are you going into next year with Cade Otton as your tight end 1? Michael Mayer, Dalton Kincaid. Kalijah Cansey, I think, could potentially make sense here because you get to play him next to Vita Vea. I think I'm going to go Kincaid.
Kincaid?
Yeah, I just think that they need a better receiving tight end. God, they would go Michael Mayer. Or should I go Michael Mayer? This is how every mock draft goes with Connor and I. It's just me thinking out loud the whole time, and Connor just sitting there like, all right, buddy. All right, I'm actually going to go Michael Mayer. Right. Yeah, but like she needs a shot clock for me. I'm going to go Michael Mayer. Even though I have Dalton Kincaid ranked higher, I think that Mayer is the better all-around tight end, and I still think that whatever tight end they draft, they need that blocking profile from. I'm not so sure that Cade Otton becomes the for sure reliable blocker in the NFL. I feel like that could be Michael Mayer, though. So all of a sudden, if you throw Michael Mayer into tight end room with Otton already, that's a really nice 1-2 punch. Whereas I think Kincaid and Otton are more of just these receiving tight ends, and you're probably still looking for a good blocker anyway. So I think Mayer actually makes sense, even though he's a little bit lower on my board.
Nice. Seattle Seahawks. A couple of things come to mind. Receiver, but I would have liked Zay Flowers here. I don't know why. Like Quentin Johnson, for me, just doesn't make sense here for them right now. I feel like they're looking for that. I don't want to say like Tyler Lockett clone, but
they kind of are.
Yeah, someone who could operate inside, outside. It's got that speed. Talk about Jordan Addison, but I don't know. Addison's testing obviously didn't kind of match what you saw on tape, but Also stupid small. So
Very small.
very, very small, very small.
Yeah.
I see some people try to make the Devontae Smith, but I feel like Devontae Smith played way more physical. I like Joey Porter actually here. To pair up with Tyreek Woolen.
Yeah,
and go back to that Legion of Boom. I mean, because they've invested a good amount in the edge. It's a good edge class. You can wait till later, day 3. Feel like that's fine. So I'm going to go ahead with Joey Porter.
I love it. I think it's a great. I mean, him and Woolen on the same team.
Gosh,
that's pretty sick. That's pretty
then you
good.
got the Black Mamba in the slot. So
wait, who's the Black Mamba?
Kobe Bryant.
Oh, Kobe Bryant. I'm an idiot. I'm so dumb. That was such a good reference, and I missed it right
You're good.
Oh, you're an idiot, Trevor. Okay, so actually, you're up again.
I am up.
Yeah, you got 3 in a row here.
Yeah. Oh no, do I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, you're picking evens because you're the Ravens too.
No.
I'll be here for emotional support.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I could use it. My dog over here, he does nothing but bicker at me, so yeah, he's the residential Chiefs fan on the channel. He's a bandwagon fan. I don't know how that came to be. He kept like interrupting me like during right around wherever the Chiefs would pick, so became a running gag.
So now he's just a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, he's kind of the mascot of the channel. I also use him as the mascot for Underdog Fantasy. Yellow bandana on him. Dalton Kincaid's the pick here.
Okay.
We got Eckler. We get Kincaid now for Eric Benamy. Sam Howell, you give him everything you can to get a fair evaluation if Jacoby Brissett doesn't overtake that role. That Brissett signing scared the hell out of me because I really want to see like Sam Howell. And I feel like Brissett could come in there and be like, I'm good enough to start. Matter of fact, I might be better than this guy. So,
dude, all of a sudden, I've never played out this scenario for the Commanders, but all of a sudden, this team has McLaurin, Dotson, Samuel. Okay, smaller wide receivers, but I think good wide receivers. They then have Logan Thomas and Dalton Kincaid at tight end. Okay, bigger bodies. You like that. That's good. That's a really nice tight end room. And then you got Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, and Austin Eckler. That's sick. It's pretty nice. And offensive line. All right, there's a little bit of question marks here, but you still got Charles Leno at left. You got Andrew Wiley now at right. You got Sam Cosmi on the inside, Chase Roulier, Andrew Norwell. Like it feels like we just did best case realistic scenario for the
Commanders.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it. And I hope Sam Howell flourishes in this. Because I really liked him last year.
Yeah. PFF did as well.
All right, I'm the Ravens. Well, that's well, this sucks. Because corner's kind of the spot.
Yeah,
I feel like a Ravens thing to do would be maybe trade down. It's just question is who's trading up. Dallas, okay, they see Bijan still on the board. Maybe they start wetting their lips. They don't want to, but I mean, you're looking at like, I think Minnesota realistically could take Bijan. They were trying to move Cook.
No, but even with, I feel like that'd be a little crazy.
Yeah. Well,
but I don't know.
I'm trying to talk the Cowboys into this.
Kwesi goes against the grain.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Could do Brian Brazie's like probably the guy I'm kind of thinking here. They just lost Campbell. I think Brazie, best years ahead of him. He's got a great package to start from. Yeah, I'm really looking for. I was looking for a trade down.
Yeah, I just don't know. That's the tough part about this draft class is you get into a lot of scenarios where you'd go, okay, this team's probably going to look to trade down, and Well, I think that that's going to happen this year, but I think they're going to pick up the phone with a lot of teams, and a lot of teams are going to be like, there's nobody we need so badly that's still on the board. It's just not that kind of a draft class. So once we get out of the top 10, it's hard to see teams really wanting to give up a lot of capital to move up. Or I think if we do see a decent amount of trades get done in the first round, I don't think the price is going to be nearly as high as it has been in years past. I think teams are going to be like, all right, we'll throw you an extra fourth if you want to move. And then if the team just really wants to get some extra draft picks, they might do it. Whereas in other years, it might have been a third that got that deal done or something like that. So that's kind of how I look at things.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's the thing. If you want to trade down, you still need a partner to tango with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's like, well, I could just sit here and just wait for that guy. I guess I'll go ahead and just take Brian Brazee.
Okay.
Like it's kind of one of the top guys on the board there.
All right. That puts me up with the Vikings at 23. I'm looking at their depth chart. I mean, they need wide receiver, man. I think we give a lot of different types of wide receivers to the Vikings. They could also go corner, but not a great one on the board. I'm just going to go Quentin Johnson. I'm going to keep it easy. I'm not going to outthink myself. Go Quentin Johnson. Get him to be in there with Justin Jefferson and the rest of those receivers. But I think Quentin Johnson, a lot of people go, oh, like, is he a wide receiver one? Like, if you're going to take him in the top 12, then you're probably thinking that he's going to be a wide receiver one at the NFL level. But taking him in the top 15, top 12 is a lot different than taking him here at 23. At 23, you're just making him a really good wide receiver two with Justin Jefferson, which is kind of the way that I look at Quentin Johnson. So I think it's a really nice scenario for them getting Johnson here.
Okay. Do you got a comp for Johnson?
I really don't. A lot of people do the Mike Williams thing, but I thought Mike Williams is a better contested catch high point wide receiver than Quentin Johnson was, and Quentin Johnson's better after the catch than Mike Williams was. So I don't love that. I don't like to use the Mike Williams comp, even though a lot of people do. But no, I don't have a good one that stuck out to me.
Okay, so I got crapped on for using Brandon Ayuk as a comp. I feel, again, comps aren't going to be like verbatim or anything, but I was like, okay, vertical, big body guy that can create after the catch. That was kind of Ayuk at Arizona State. They were just vertical and a screen team coming out. But I didn't hate the comp. I'll say that.
I don't hate the usage part of that comp. Like, I think they got used similarly, but I think where you probably got pushback from people is from the fact that Quentin's bigger in weight and he's bigger in height. So he's not going to move exactly the way that Ayuk does. Because I'm thinking about Ayuk in my head. I'm like, man, Ayuk's developed into a really nice route runner. And he's kind of like a really explosive, controlled guy in his routes now. And yeah, I think the reason why people would push back on that one so much is just because they picture them as different body types. But I think the usage coming out was kind of the same. So I don't necessarily hate where your head's at there, even though I do think they're two different dimensions of players with height and weight. So.
Yeah, and I was like looking at their length, similar length, and when some like, oh man, like my comp's kind of all over the place. Sometimes like I look like, okay, I could see like from a development standpoint, maybe this guy having a similar trajectory. I try to keep it within reason of like the measurements, testing, and all that. But yeah, I was looking at like Brandon Ayuk coming out, not necessarily with the guy we see today, but. Yeah. This is why I hate comps, man.
It's tough.
Comps suck.
I know everybody really loves to hear comps. Well, who does he remind you of? Well, what's his NFL comparison? And there obviously are some that really work, but I do think that unfortunately people try to force comps for content because the comps do really well. Obviously, they're very polarizing, like we just talked about here with this conversation. Yeah. So I don't like to force them unless they really come to me. Unless I'm watching a guy and I'm like, ooh, he really reminds me of this. Then I'll probably leave the comp be. But you're up with the Jags.
Nice. Brian Branch, nice and easy. Get them a slot. Darius Williams was at his best on the outside. Started the year in the slot. Had a rough time. Moved outside. Was freaking fantastic. Get Brian Branch. Put him in the slot. And then you could have fun with him after they get rid of Rashawn Jenkins if you want to like kind of move him around the box or really, I mean, Brian Branch, I think he could be pretty darn versatile around the line of scrimmage. All right. Want to kick him outside.
It's the perfect pick. It's truly the perfect pick for him. The Giants. I mean, Brian Branch would have been perfect for the Giants. I want to pick Emmanuel Forbes.
Man, I don't know if Forbes goes in the first, man.
I don't.
Just based on the 166.
He's 166, man. How are you picking a 166-pound NFL player in the first round?
I like everything else about him.
No, obviously he's very fast. Yeah. He's really quick twitch. He's had a ton of ball production over the last couple of years, although I would say that a lot of the ball production this past year was bad throws, right place, right time stuff.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Jordan Addison.
I think Dibble would like a good route runner there.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, Dallas Cowboys. Bijan Robinson. You don't have to pay Tony Pollard next year.
Yep. Too easy. People like to try to put tight end here, and I was like, I really think they like Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot. I don't think they'll go with it in the first, at least the first. No, I agree with you. Bills at 27. Oh, I think I'm going to go Anton Harrison here. Their offensive line needs to get better. I'm going to go Harrison. Harrison played a little bit on the right side this past year. They tried it out against UTEP. And he looked fine. You can tell he's a little apprehensive about it, but he's the best offensive lineman on the board. I don't think he's getting talked about enough. I really don't. I think he deserves to be a back into the first round offensive tackle. His tape's totally fine. So yeah, Harrison 27 to the Bills. I think offensive line investment is probably their best route.
I agree. Bengals. I like this one. I'm gonna go with Eddie Tamiwa at Abari.
Okay.
I'm not a Kancey guy. Like I'm not a Kancey guy. I'm just not like I don't like him in the top 20 type of talk. And I'm kind of with Jim Nagy on, okay, you could get that player that essentially with almost 4 inches more length. Obviously, I think Kancey is more put together right now, but I just think, man, golly, the testing phenomenal. This guy's got wonderful get off. You're going to be moving him to where, I think Zach Carter got about 500 snaps this year. And I feel like you could probably replace that. Zach Carter, not exactly the most explosive guy. Not going to be anywhere near to our boy, or at least my boy, Eddie Tamiwa here. So a bit different from right tackle. So I know a lot of people like taking right tackle there.
Yeah, I don't hate this, man. I think they've got a really solid defensive line already, and that can allow you the flexibility to play Adebawore in a lot of different spots. You know, some people are like, oh, is he a 3-tech? Is he a 5-tech? What is he? I think as a depth player for the Cincinnati Bengals, he can play a lot of different spots there. So to me, that one makes sense. Saints. A lot bigger on the defensive line. They used to be a lot bigger than even what they were before when they had Shai Tuttle and when they had David Onyemata. Now they add Nathan Shepard and Kalen Saunders, but it's not the same caliber interior defensive line. They also lost Marcus Davenport. They still have Peyton Turner. They still have Carl Granderson. They still have Cameron Jordan. They have Tano Passanio as well. Yeah, they just love his size, man.
Yeah, they do.
Kamara's probably getting suspended. They don't need tight end, but they have Jamal Williams. They don't need tight end. Juwan Johnson and Adam Trautman are fine. Sorry, Taysom Hill. Sorry, all due respect.
One of the best fantasy tight ends right there.
Miles Murphy feels like their kind of player. Oh, Mozzie Smith also feels like their type of player.
Based on what they brought in, too.
I'm going to go Kancey. I'll just go Kancey.
Oh, okay.
I'll do it. I'm going to go Kancey.
Right.
I'm a little worried about it, but I think the Saints at least have the size and the defensive line to be able to play him in one gapping situations. So.
Yeah, I was going to go with that at stinking 30.
Oh, at 30 with
that was kind of the plan. I was like, okay, he'll probably take Miles Murphy here.
I was thinking about it. I was definitely thinking about it.
I think I will take Miles Murphy here.
Okay.
Get them some edge help.
Coming away, the Eagles coming away with 10-30 with Paris Johnson, Peter Skoronski and Miles Murphy. It's just very, very, very Eagles type of draft.
Solely the trenches. All right, Kansas City.
What's your dog want to pick?
Gojo, you got a preference, bud? He's knocked out.
All right, so I think we have the usual culprits on the board here for the Kansas City Chiefs. Will McDonald is here. B.J. Ojulari is here. Felix Anudike-Uzomah is here. DeJuan Jones, I guess they could go with. I like the idea of them going tackle in the first round and then hitting edge in the second round. I think I'm going to have... Am I going to have Ojulari ranked?
Tackle kind of falls off a cliff after this, too.
Yeah, so I got to go with DeJuan Jones here just because there's going to be better edge options at 62 than there are offensive tackle options that are going to be there at 62 for them. So I'll go Jones. Uniquely built, massive human being. They're going to have somebody new at right tackle anyway, so maybe it can be Jones, maybe it can be the rookie. So we're going DeJuan Jones. Cap it off.
There we go. Very nice. Very nice. And there are already still a ton of edges on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very good class. But that's the mock draft. Thank you so much for coming and doing this with me, my friend.
I appreciate it, dude. This was a good time. I knew it would be. Again, we had so many requests for us to team up, whether it was on our channel or your channel. And so I'm glad that hopefully we could give the people what they wanted here because this was a lot of fun to do.
If you ever want the slob of the draft community, because I mean, just look at me.
No, that's not true. No, this is you're an icon. You're an icon.
You're right.
Dude.
Yeah. Outside of this, I'm suit and tie and everything. This is just
right. You're right. It's the look. This you're Superman and Clark Kent, or That's...
Yep. This is my spandex and tights right here. But thank you so much, y'all. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. And as always, till next time, y'all be easy, my friends. Later.